In the beginning, before the creation of the physical world, there was the celestial realm, inhabited by pure and radiant beings, the angels. Among them was one who shone with an intense and unrivaled light, the most beautiful and resplendent of all, Lucifer, whose name means bearer of light. Chosen for his purity and perfection, Lucifer held a position of prominence, leading the praise of God and guarding the very throne of heaven. Lucifer was admired for his radiant beauty and wisdom. His splendor seemed to embody the highest qualities of creation. Gifted with a brilliant mind and a majestic presence, he enjoyed a special closeness with God, regarded as one of the most powerful angels in heaven. His garments seemed woven from rays of light, and his voice, like the sound of peaceful waters, guided the songs and inspired the other angels in their worship. Yet behind this brilliance and perfection, something began to change within Lucifer. His heart, which once burned with devotion, was slowly consumed by a seed of pride, a subtle doubt that would separate him from his divine purpose. Over time, Lucifer's radiance became more than just a quality. He began to notice his own beauty and exalted position, and gradually, the admiration he received from the other angels planted in him a seed of dissatisfaction. Pride, a feeling that had never existed in his nature, began to take root in his heart. Lucifer started to desire something beyond the position he had been given, a dangerous and unprecedented desire in the celestial realm. Lucifer's view of himself became distorted. He began to wonder why he couldn't also rule over heaven, why he should submit entirely to God's will. These questions, which silently grew in his mind, became increasingly intense until he convinced himself that he deserved to be on the same level as the Creator. Why, if I am the most beautiful, the wisest, can I not also be the most powerful? He pondered. This secret desire not only distanced Lucifer from his original devotion, but it also cast a shadow over heaven. Gradually, he began to question God's love and authority, feeling wronged by not being able to hold a higher position. What was once a mere thought now grew like an uncontrollable flame. Without anyone knowing, Lucifer's pride was about to become the spark of an unprecedented rebellion. With pride ruling his heart, Lucifer began to act in the shadows. He knew he would need allies to fulfill his ambitious desire. So, in secret, he sought out other angels who, captivated by his beauty and charisma, were willing to listen to him. Subtly, Lucifer planted in them the same seed of dissatisfaction that consumed him, questioning divine authority and suggesting that there was a power that could also be theirs. In clandestine meetings, he shared his vision of a new heaven where he, Lucifer, would lead the angels in a new order. With seductive words and promises of freedom, he inflamed his followers. The idea of independence resonated among them, and many, fascinated by the ideal of self-power, joined his side. Lucifer became more than a mere angel to them. He was now the leader of a secret and powerful movement. Little by little, a true alliance of rebellious angels formed around Lucifer. These angels, once loyal to God, were now ready to challenge the celestial order, convinced that Lucifer's light was the only one they should follow. Strengthened by his allies, Lucifer was determined to carry out his plan, to challenge the Creator himself and seize the throne of God. The stage was set for the greatest conflict heaven had ever witnessed. The rebellion was about to begin. The tension in heaven reached its peak when Lucifer and his followers made their first move toward open rebellion. The battle began abruptly, like an unexpected storm. Angels who had once lived in harmony now found themselves on opposite sides, and heaven transformed into a battlefield. At the front of the forces loyal to God stood Michael, the archangel, whose loyalty and strength made him the ultimate defender of divine order. Michael and the loyal angels faced off against Lucifer's followers in a conflict that echoed through the vastness of heaven. Rays of pure light and energy tore across the firmament, and the radiant glow of the angels was now overshadowed by the darkness of war. The intensity of the clashes was so great that each blow and each move seemed to shake the very structure of heaven. The rebellion, once a whisper in the shadows, now manifested as a shout of defiance. Lucifer, leading his legion, fought with a fury that only amplified his dark aura. Above all, he wanted to prove he was capable of defeating Michael and, in doing so, claim the power and throne he so desired. But Michael, fearless and strengthened by his devotion, resisted with all the power granted to him. The battle between Michael and Lucifer became the climax of this conflict, an epic struggle between the light of loyalty and the darkness of pride. Finally, after a long and exhausting struggle, Michael prevailed. The rebellious angels, weakened and defeated, no longer had the strength to continue fighting. The revolt led by Lucifer was over, but its consequences were only beginning. Defeated and unable to resist any longer, Lucifer and his followers faced their final judgment. In his justice, God decreed that there was no longer a place in heaven for those who had rebelled. A profound silence enveloped the celestial realm as Lucifer, now stripped of his position, felt the weight of his choice. What had once been a dream of greatness now became his condemnation. Lucifer and the fallen angels were cast out of heaven, banished to the depths of darkness. The light that once surrounded them faded, and their forms transformed into shadows, reflecting the inner darkness that consumed them. Lucifer, the bearer of light, no longer shone. He had become Satan, the adversary, a presence destined to wander far from the glory he had once known. The fall was so profound that heaven itself seemed to mourn the loss. Lucifer and his followers were forever separated from the presence of God, and where harmony once reigned, there was now a void. The expulsion marked the beginning of an eternal opposition. Lucifer was no longer an angel, but the symbol of evil, temptation, and rebellion. Broken but still filled with resentment, he took on his new role as the adversary of God and goodness. His existence would now be an endless quest to corrupt and oppose everything God would create. Lucifer's expulsion did not bring only peace to heaven, but initiated a conflict that would resonate throughout creation. From his new dark abode, Lucifer, now Satan, took on a mission to destroy everything that God loved. His rebellion and fall created a fracture in the balance of the universe, marking the birth of evil and temptation. When God created the world and humanity, Lucifer saw an opportunity for revenge. He swore to corrupt God's work, and thus divert the hearts of human beings from their Creator. From this moment, Satan's presence would become a constant threat, bringing chaos and trials to those who sought goodness. Lucifer's fall created an ongoing cycle of struggle between light and darkness, and his influence would be felt by humanity throughout all of history. The story of Lucifer and his fall carries profound lessons about the nature of pride, ambition, and the choices that shape our destiny. Lucifer, the most exalted of angels, allowed pride to distance him from his purpose and transform him into the opposite of everything he once was. His story teaches that even at the height of glory, we can fall if we let our ego blind us. For humanity, Lucifer's story serves as a reminder of the importance of humility and faithfulness. It challenges us to reflect on our own ambitions and the paths we choose.